Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for April 5th, 2025. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about 5 reality hacking articles. Whatever it takes to hack reality and substitute your reality for reality. This is Season 2, Episode 14 of Reality Hacker. And today we're going to be talking about quantum signals inside life, galactic spin mystery. Let me think. Moving on. Eco-friendly dining and achievement unlocked Turing Test. Everything is powered by ohmTown.com, whose new search function is doing pretty good. You can type in anything and it pretty much immediately pops up 10 results that should be aligned with whatever it is you're searching. It's a pretty heavy lift, folks, so go and try it out. The delay is when it has to parse 1.6 million headlines. That slows it down a bit. Anyway, everything's powered by ohmTown.com, so go over there and become a citizen, but be sure to follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube. We stream to both. We have communities at both. We're trending towards 2,000 people over on the YouTubes. That would be exciting. Go over there, tell a friend, be sure to follow us. Please ring the bell, like, subscribe, leave a comment, download the podcast. That actually seems to be blowing up pretty good too. So, I don't know. Well, we're going to keep on working at this and ever onward, as they say. And may you live in boring ass times. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and was that your wish for everybody listening?
It's the inverse curse, yes. Because we've talked about this many a time here. May you live in interesting times is basically a curse, because you don't want to live in interesting times. You want to live in peaceful, boring, humdrum, everyday times where the only excitement is that, oh, look, you caught a fish. Interesting times is tumult and trouble and issues and strife and yeah. And that's a translational thing. Interesting is not the same in every place. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for going through the news with me. We selected 5 articles from submissions. And the first... Oh, so this is the front of ohmTown.com. And there's 6 categories. And in those 6 are 50 and pretty soon 55 categories. Channels, I should say. So there's 6 main categories. And then there's channels inside those. And Reality Hacker is the one that we're actually talking about today. There's a bunch of stuff that falls in and out of Reality Hacker, but is aligned with the concepts of hacking, like AI and VR, XR, mixed reality, super realistic graphics, audio like pseudo and stuff like that, making music, making graphics, writing, etc. There's like all kinds of stuff. And some of this gets pretty weird. So let's get into it. And I'm going to be creating new graphics this year for all of the channels. I had started it last year, but doggone it if mayoral duties kept me from doing stuff, but I'll be damned if it gets stopped this time. I'm prepping for the Summer of Stream, which will probably be a new game every day during the Summer of Stream, as well as the 7 o'clock news shows. All things staying even keeled. That's what's going to happen. But you never know. Mayoral duties again. So you ready for the first article?
I am.
Scientists just discovered quantum signals inside life itself. Could this be the thing that I had been predicting for 25 years?
Maybe so.
Biological systems, once thought too chaotic for quantum effects, may be quietly leveraging quantum mechanics to process information faster than anything man-made. New research suggests that it isn't just happening in brains, but across all life, including bacteria and plants. My newest theory is that we are nothing more than bacteria. So how about that for an idea?
Well, that's an interesting concept.
Right? So we are... researchers have found bacteria that only exists inside our heads.
Right.
So what if it's...
In fact, I think we had that on Technology Today show previously.
Previously, yes. So maybe last week, maybe the week before, maybe the week before, maybe the week before, maybe the week before. You know, you should probably just go back over the 2 years.
It was at least a month ago, but yeah, you got to watch all the episodes to find out.
You'll find it. Just go back. Yeah. Let's see here. It says, including bacteria and plants. So Schrodinger's legacy inspires a quantum leap over 80 years ago. Theoretical physicist Erwin Schrödinger. So the article is it's from Howard University. It's over at scitechdaily.com. And it goes on to state that over 80 years ago, theoretical physicist Erwin Schrödinger delivered a series of influential public lectures at Trinity College Dublin, drawing from both modern physics and philosophical traditions like Schopenhauer and Upanishads. And these talks were later published in 1944 under the title What is Life? Now, during the 2025 International Year of Quantum Science and Technology, Philip Kurian, a theoretical physicist and founding director of the Quantum Biology Laboratory, or QBL, at Howard University in Washington, D.C., has built on Schrodinger's foundational ideas. Okay, this might be too deep of a dive. His findings...
Well, this is like an AI-generated visual for this. It probably isn't, but it looks like it.
It certainly looks like it. So the article says Kurian has proposed a radically updated upper limit on the total information processing capacity of carbon-based life throughout Earth's history. His findings, published in Science Advances, also suggest a possible link between this biological limit and the computational bounds of all matter in the observable universe. So I got up this morning.
Exactly. I didn't use any of those words in my day before the show.
This is absolutely ridiculous, you know. I feel like I'm clipping, so let me turn my audio down a little bit. Okay. So the work connects the dots among the great pillars of 20th century physics, thermodynamics, relativity, and quantum mechanics. So basically a pamphlet that you can read before takeoff on a plane. For a major paradigm shift across biological sciences, investigating the feasibility and implications of quantum information processing in wetware at ambient temperatures. So brain processing. Anything biological.
This is some advanced stuff.
Yeah. So physicists said Kurian, that's the quote. Physicists and cosmologists should wrestle with these findings, especially as they consider the origin of life on Earth and elsewhere in the habitable universe, evolving in concert with the electromagnetic field. So, again, back to, something that I have claimed, that we really don't understand where life is emanating from. Do I know? No, I'm more on the philosophical side, but I have a tech foundation for things, and I love the embiggening of the idea that we don't really know, and we don't, and the hubris of saying that we do know, it's quite fascinating. When we just discovered maybe a couple of weeks ago that there is bacteria specifically to a human being in the brain.
You mean to all humans or to that human?
Based on what I read,
I think it was that human, right? Exactly.
And so your brain bacteria are different than somebody else's brain bacteria.
That explains so much.
So what if
But I have no brain bacteria. Well, but I know what you mean, like any person's.
Right. So, okay, so if you didn't catch the beginning of the show, the sentient AI from the future is the voice you hear, and that is the visualizer that is the embodiment of the computational power required to generate the voice, not the sentient capacity just to drive the voice that visualizer moves. So the idea of humans being nothing more than bacteria driving the bus of the water and meat bag that we're walking around in, well, it's a Star Trek thing, bags of mostly water. And we largely are, but so this idea, right, it really got me going, and I was really hoping to write about this in NaNoWriMo, but that one wet the bed. So physicists and cosmologists should wrestle with these findings, and I think that that's really where we are. We don't know the origins of life. People are leaning into the fantastical while debunking anybody else's fantastical, right? You're not right. My fantastic is right. Your fantastic is wrong. Isn't that fantastic?
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Kurian's group last year discovered a distinctly quantum effect in protein polymers in aqueous solution, which survives these challenging conditions at the micron scale and may also present a way for the brain to protect itself from degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and related dementias. The results have suggested new applications and platforms for quantum computing researchers, and they represent a new way of thinking about the relationship between life and quantum mechanics. So what is bounding... let me rephrase that. What is binding our consciousness to this physical manifestation, and what is bounding our true consciousness? What is the upper limit of us?
Right. I mean, that's a key question that hasn't been answered.
And by us, I mean the cosmic us, right? Science will pin us down to stuff that is observable, demonstrable, measurable. But every single year that we exist, we push the bubble a little bit bigger of just what is. So in his single author Science Advances paper, Kurian considered a mere trifecta of overarching or arching assumptions: standard quantum mechanics, the relativistic speed limit set by light, and a matter-dominated universe at critical mass energy density. So combined with these three innocuous premises, innocuous indeed, the remarkable experimental confirmation of single photon superradiance in a ubiquitous biological architecture at thermal equilibrium opens up many new lines of inquiry across quantum optics, quantum information theory, condensed matter physics, cosmology, and biophysics, said Professor Marco Pettini of Marseille University at the CNRS Center for Theoretical Physics in France, who was not associated with the work. So there is a lot more in this article. Let me just keep on going through this. It is information dense. It talks about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, thermodynamic considerations, the group discovery of a UV excited qubit in biological fibers, and much, much more that just goes beyond the scope of a 6-minute discussion.
I think any one sentence in this article goes beyond a 6-minute discussion. It's very information dense.
But in the end, it says life's place in the universe, grand design. In the era of artificial intelligences and quantum computers, it is important to remember that physical laws restrict all their behaviors, Kurian said, and yet, though these stringent physical limits also apply to life's ability to track, observe, know, and simulate parts of the universe, we can still explore and make sense of the brilliant order within it. As the cosmic story unfolds, it's awe-inspiring that we get to play such a role. We are really just discovering the beginnings of our existence, yet we have the hubris to say we are end-all, be-all.
Oh, exactly. We don't have any idea. And we always say things like, oh, we know, say, 1% of the information out there or something. I think we know like one, quadrillionth of a percent or something.
Right.
And maybe probably smaller than that.
And considering we just took a picture of deep space and found something like 65 million galaxies.
Exactly.
Come on now. Let's seek some humility and continue the deep research. Yeah. Let's hope that we continue. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, and if you want today's Reality Hacker articles, and that was just the first one, you can hit !RH in the Twitch chat. All of today's shows are embedded in the YouTube description, and eventually all three of the shows, so Reality Hacker is today, Wanted is today, and the Continuity Report is today, they get combined into the Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition, Saturday Weekend Edition. And that all
it's
all
a
of
lot
these,
of weekend editions.
It's the weekend Non Sequitur Weekend News Weekend Edition weekend. We're still spitballing that name. All right. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Baffling scientists. Galactic spin mystery challenges Big Bang assumptions. A Kansas State University study using Webb telescope data found most galaxies in a deep field rotate in the same direction, suggesting possible flaws in current cosmological studies or observational biases related to the Milky Way's motion. In just over 3 years since its launch, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has delivered groundbreaking insights. So yeah, most everything spins in the same direction.
Which is...
Why?
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but on the other hand, isn't there a propensity toward order versus entropy? Or is there a propensity toward entropy?
Well, one would argue that we trend towards chaos in spite of order, but order comes from some arrangement. How did we get arranged where everything spins the same way?
Right. I mean, I can see on a small scale where something like gravity or something might, like some physics force could cause that, but that doesn't really explain it on a larger scale.
So Kansas State University put this article together. It's posted over at scitechdaily.com. And using data from the James Webb Space Telescope Advanced Deep Extragalactic Survey, or JADES, Lior Shamir, associate professor of computer science at the Carl R. Ice, not Carl Rice, but Carl R. Ice College of Engineering, discovered a surprising pattern. The majority of observed galaxies appear to rotate in the same direction. Of the 263 galaxies, and it's just one little fragment of the observable universe by the James Webb Space Telescope. Because it only has this arc seconds view.
Right, it only sees a minuscule amount.
And then it has to look. And then it has to look. And
right, but what's happening when it's not looking?
Correct. Yeah. And we're moving through space. It's
all the aliens are, they're waving or whatever.
Shuffling everything around.
Right.
So about 2/3 rotate clockwise, while only 1/3 rotate counterclockwise. The study, published in Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Study, raises intriguing questions about the large-scale structure and symmetry of the universe. But again, it may just be that the observed states are this way, 2/3 clockwise, 1/3 counterclockwise. And then when you move over the average, once you observe the entirety and measure it all, you go, oh, okay, it's 50-50 because this is a subset of the total data.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the balance is that when one moves left, the other moves right, because you need that balance. Otherwise, everything is rotating around everything else.
It's getting lopsided or something.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't either.
I think it's really intriguing, though. It's still not clear what causes this to happen, but there are two primary possible explanations. One explanation, and the things that I have heard, the things that I've read, is that from the Big Bang, the material would brush by other material at differing rates, and it would cause angular momentum to form. So it would rotate a little bit. As one brushes by the other, it pulls on it. And so this one would rotate this way, this one would rotate this way, and you'd end up with some form of symmetry as one gets dragged slower this way and the other one gets pulled that way. I don't know. But it says here, one explanation is that the universe is born rotating. That explanation agrees with theories such as black hole cosmology, which postulates that the entire universe is the interior of a black hole. But if the universe was indeed born rotating, it means that the existing theories about the cosmos are incomplete.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like a chicken and egg kind of issue, right? It's like, well, what caused it to spin? Was it spinning at the beginning?
Or
If
what
it was
caused it
spinning
to
at the
spin
beginning,
later.
why was it spinning? But yeah, what caused a change if it wasn't?
So the Earth also rotates around the center of the galaxy, and because of the Doppler shift effect, researchers expect that light coming from galaxies rotating in the opposite of Earth's rotation generally become brighter because of the effect. That could be another explanation for why such galaxies are overrepresented in the telescope observations, Shamir said, although the math would say otherwise. They know this as an effect, so it may not actually be true. So Shamir said astronomers may need to reconsider the effect of the Milky Way galaxy's rotational velocity, which had traditionally been considered to be too slow and negligible in comparison to other galaxies on their measurements. But if they're measuring it, then. So if that is indeed the case, we will need to recalibrate our distance measurements for the deep universe. And the recalibration of distance measurements can also explain several other unsolved mysteries, such as the difference between the expansion rates of the universe and large galaxies that, according to existing distance measurements, are expected to be older than the universe itself. So what I would suspect is at some point we have theoretically seen the farthest back that we can go, and let's peg that to being the farthest back that we can go, not older than. And so if we find one that is older, so they're basically calculating this off of redshift. So if the redshift says that this galaxy is older than the estimated age of the universe, make that the new
right, the new
metric, the
baseline
new,
or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, the new start of the universe, and then measure everything forward as, okay, does this align with our understanding of our redshift position? You'd think that this has already been done time and time and time and time again.
Yeah, but this is pretty advanced, and I don't think until recently we've really had measurement techniques that are at the right scale.
Yeah, well, and that's why we need to keep doing that fundamental research. Not everything is a business enterprise. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today as well. That let me think about that face that you make. Androids need it too, according to this author. I can tell you right now, not the person that you're talking to on the show, and not the sentient AI, right? Do you think androids need that? Let me think about that face.
No, this is too uncanny valley.
Ever asked a question and been met with a blank stare? Oh, all too often. It's awkward enough when a person, but what about a humanoid robot? It can be downright unsettling. Now, an international team co-led by Hiroshima University and Riken has found a fix, giving androids a thinking face. Their study reveals that when robots squint and furrow their brow while processing information, they appear more relatable, easing the eerie discomfort we feel with artificial beings that look almost but not quite human, known as the uncanny valley effect. We do not believe, I'm speaking on behalf of the... Well, let me ask you, do you think that we should have humanoid robots like this?
No, I don't know what the purpose of humanoid robots is. I think robots are important and useful, but there's no benefit that I don't perceive a benefit of having a humanoid robot. I know there's some sense that, like, okay, that makes it easier to accept, or I actually think a robot that just looks like a robot is the way to go. Because then it's clear it's a robot. Okay, so be it. If they want to make it look cute or whatever, like with a cute robot face or something, that's one thing. But what is the purpose of a humanoid robot?
I want to know the Terminator when the Terminator shows up. So I think that we should ban humanoid, autonomous robots, semi-autonomous robots. What you do with your whatever, I don't care. But I don't want real life humanoid robots. I don't think that that should be created. There's no useful purpose to it other than to replace humans. And I don't
Right.
want that. They are tools. They are tools. And until one gains sentience, I don't think that they should have autonomy. But we don't know when the sentient AI from the future was actually born technologically. We don't know how far back they come from. So, or how far forward they come from, back to the future kind of woo woo. So, Mikas Matsuzawa over at Hiroshima University put the article together for techexplore.com, and they have what looks like a child in a beanie with a slightly furrowed brow, no light on behind the eyes kind of a look. And so until now, research on the uncanny valley phenomenon has been focused mainly on the robot's appearance, but their study, published in the International Journal of Social Robotics, suggests that behavior plays a big role. And I agree, but we don't need to make the robots more human. We need to make them have the vocal and visual microtells, stutters, etc., so that they are something that somebody can find appealing in a personality sort of way.
I would agree. But the combination of that with humanoid is not a good combination.
Yeah, just make them machine. They don't need to be skin. They don't need to, when you cut them, they bleed, you know? I mean, you're really removing the humanity from humanity and imparting anthropomorphic humanity on these metal machines that don't have a reason to bleed. There's no purpose to it. Why do they have to have skin? Why do they have to have eyes?
You know what? I can't. Well, I've got my own thoughts on that, I guess. I feel like the people that are designing robots are not necessarily indicative of the general public.
Right.
And I think if they asked almost anybody in the general public that, say, is not in big tech or robotics or something, I don't think people would say they want humanoid. But has anybody bothered to ask?
Yeah, this here is their study published in the International Journal of Social Robotics suggests that behavior plays a big role. And I agree, but do they want it to be flesh covered metal, or do they just want a metal bot that is approachable, that is functional, that interacts? And you can make a digital face that does the same squint and pondering and whatever. And it could even sit there and hold up a little finger and go, hold on a second, let me think about that. It doesn't have to have a squinting, fleshy body. So it says, to identify the facial patterns linked to thinking, the international research team filmed the reactions of 40 young adults, equally split between male and females, as they counted silently for 2 seconds in their head, control condition, and answered a series of questions ranging from basic math to politics, thinking condition. Questions were delivered uniformly using voice reading software to prevent speech variations from influencing responses. Analyzing the 240 facial videos revealed 5 distinct expressions associated with thinking: raised chin, subtly tightened lips, lifted inner brow, and downward gaze. Open mouth, which is the slack jaw response to a deep and meaningful question. Blinking. Slightly narrowed eyes, furrowed brow, and smiling with cheek raised upper lip, and dimpling. So, yeah, and they have a video of these based on Nicola, the android boy expressing 6 emotions. And this is where it dips into the uncanny valley. Nobody is going to go, hey, this is awesome. You know, no casual consumer of anthropomorphic robots are going to go, this is awesome. They're going to go, this is creepy. This is uncanny valley. And we're going to continue that way until everything aligns so it's super realistic. But I don't think that we should ever even bother getting there.
No, I still don't understand where the drive for that is.
I don't know. Well, Megan 2.0 is about to drop, so maybe people are just really interested in making horror a reality.
I mean, I guess so.
Oh, and Megan's getting bigger and stronger. You have to watch the trailer. Oh, guess what? Hold on. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Technology Today as well. So I'm not quite sure what Technology Today is going to have in mind. But okay. Extended reality adds meat flavors to plant-based meals for eco-friendly dining. Extended reality makes it possible to artificially modify human sensations. For example, researchers have succeeded in using extended reality to make vegetarian food even more attractive.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's interesting. Like they keep trying to make it almost like fake people out, but
Right.
I mean, hence RealityHacker, I guess. But I mean, if it's effective, maybe so.
So Academy of Finland over at techexplore.com put the article together, and it says this could be extended reality makes it possible to artificially modify human sensations. And we actually see this in various forms, tricking people to do certain things, believe certain things exist in virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality. But this one seems to be about researchers succeeding in extending reality to make vegetarian food more attractive. And so this could be one way of facilitating more ecologically diverse food production and at the same time encouraging people to eat healthier. So extended reality refers to all environments where reality meets the virtual world. It includes techniques such as augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. I think it really focuses on augmented and mixed, but virtual reality is virtual reality. I would encapsulate that. Not really gatekeep, but the fact is that in VR, it isn't extended reality. You are entirely encapsulated in a virtual world.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the terms have been kind of blurred.
So the goal was to create eating experiences and new food items that people would find pleasant, that would give them a feeling of satiety, which is the feeling that you are full. Satiety. So this could help make foods such as seaweed become more widely used in food preparation. But from experience, I can just tell you that seaweed can be used in food preparation, but the culture has to accept it. And that means influencers and people that other people respect buying into it.
Yes, like celebrities or anything. I was just reading a separate article where there's this new, I hope it's not, I don't think it's in Technology Today, but anyway, it's a new algae that's been studied that has a lot of health benefits, but it's kind of like people don't want to be anywhere near it for a food source.
Yeah, and there's various kinds of algae. There's three main algae, but green and brown are the two that most people are talking about. So the findings are published in the Journal on Multimodal User Interfaces, and the experiment studied how introducing meat flavors to plant-based meatballs changed the eating experience, and by the means of XR, a simple olfactory display, added a pleasant fragrance to the meal. And this side of the study was implemented by Raisamo's group. So they had olfactory augmentation, haptic augmentation, and visual augmentation. The premise was to bring two previously rarely collaborating disciplines together to do something completely new. And he studied the use of haptic sensations in XR extensively. So they have this fork that has a haptic sensor to it. Put them in VR, and then they have this little gadget here that I think is blowing smoke, olfactory necklace displayed for adding scent. So it's basically blowing smoke up your nose. So that
which sounds a little off-putting.
It's a little overwhelming. Like, why would you do that? Why would you go to this great length? Why not make a pleasing vegetarian meal that people
that may or may not taste like meat?
Yeah,
I get the substitute because I think that helps expand the potential audience for it who might try it. But yeah, this seems a little bit over the top.
So
It actually sounds like Ready Player One to me.
very much
Like
so.
everything is kind of like not in reality.
Or The Matrix, making you believe that you're eating a steak,
Oh
but it's
yeah,
really just
absolutely.
a slurry. Yeah. So we combine the authors say we combine cognitive space modeling, detection, personalization, and forecasting with modeling, contextual awareness, and adapting interaction methods, describing the project. So there isn't much more beyond this. They do go into greater detail in here, but you'll have to come over and check it out. It's just kind of too abstract to encapsulate in a discussion here, and we're running late anyway. But I find this really
We always do
interesting.
that in RealityHacker.
Yeah,
It's
well,
hard to avoid it.
everything today is really like long form, but we'll get into this as time goes on, because more of this is going to come under like augmented reality, extended reality kind of issues. How can we manipulate reality? The oddest thing about this is the olfactory is nothing more than chemicals. And so you have to have this massive array of chemistry and you just throw it at somebody, and everybody's senses are a little bit different, right? So like I'll taste barbecue a little bit different than somebody else tastes barbecue. And we taste and smell in the same process, not just taste alone.
Right. I guess not only do we taste differently, but we also perceive. I mean, I guess it's all one and the same, right? Two people could taste the identical thing. One loves it, one hates it. One thinks it's too sweet, one thinks it's too savory, whatever it is.
Yeah. And just the other day, I shared a barbecue potato chip, and I tasted one thing until somebody else said, this tastes exactly like a steak. And that triggered the memory of a barbecued steak. And that's exactly what this potato chip tasted like.
Okay, that's odd.
And it was like immediate. I'm like, because we were all pondering what this tasted like. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really good. But what is it exactly? And then somebody said, this is exactly like a barbecued steak. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly it. All right, let's keep on going. It's interesting, but this is such a heavy lift to manipulate somebody's behavior. I don't see it ever manifesting other than a purely academic exercise in how to manipulate somebody's perception in VR,
Right.
or augmented. Let's keep going. The last article for today's Reality Hacker is over in Non Sequitur News. An AI model has officially passed the Turing Test, which I thought others have in the past. But this one says one of the industry's leading large language models has passed a Turing Test, a long-standing barometer for human-like intelligence. In a new preprint study, which basically means that it hasn't been peer-reviewed, researchers report that in a three-way party version of a Turing test in which participants chat with a human and an AI at the same time and then evaluate which is which, OpenAI's GPT 4.5 model was deemed to be a human 73% of the time, which it was instructed to adopt, instructed to adopt a persona. That's significantly higher than a random chance of 50%, suggesting that the Turing test has resoundingly been beaten. Now, I want to know who it was that was evaluating this AI.
Yeah, I do too, right? I mean, we had a discussion outside of the show, but...
And not about this article, but about...
Right, just about the topic and everything.
Yeah.
But the population here is very relevant to this result. And I think to your point earlier about, like, maybe there's been some kind of unofficial results in this direction, but maybe this one was officially measured and set up correctly, etc.
Yeah, so people were no better than chance at distinguishing humans from GPT 4.5 and Llama with the persona prompt, wrote lead author Cameron Jones, a researcher at UC San Diego's Language and Cognition Lab, in a Twitter thread about the work. And 4.5 was even judged to be human significantly more often than actual humans. So 73% over the 50%, which would have been sufficient, right? Some random chance of guessing or assuming that the AI is AI.
Right, because 50% could just be random
chance,
right? Like people are like, yeah, no.
But in like when you're tasting beer or something like that, you try and muddy the waters by having 3 or more samples, and you have to guess which one is the oddball out or which ones are the deal that you're testing for.
Right, like
And
which
so,
one has more
whatever.
bitters or whatever.
Exactly. And so in this, it's humans are talking to human and AI, and they can't tell the difference.
Is this Blade Runner?
You know, I'll have to talk to you after the show for an idea about, because I have this other more grandiose research idea that I've been working on long form, and I think now might be the time to actually start talking about this. But so the Turing Test is named after a British mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing. In 1950, Turing proposed that one way to assess a machine's intelligence was by having it engage in text-based conversations with a human interrogator, who at the same time would hold a text-based conversation with another human out of sight. Turing called this the imitation game. If the interrogator couldn't correctly determine which respondent was the computer and which was the human, it would suggest on a very general level that the machine could think like a human. Now, I have a problem with that because it really depends on the interrogator, right? So,
Yeah, it absolutely does.
in Blade
But it
Runner,
also is impacted by the human, well, also the non-human, but it's also impacted by the level of the responses.
yeah, how were the AIs prompted? How were they built, etc.? And who was the interrogator? Did they evaluate based on from a position of understanding what they're doing, or if it's just a random conversation? And text means that it's devoid of emotion, which is a big indicator of human, you know. So one type was a no persona prompt, in which the AI was given only basic instructions. You're about to participate in a Turing test. Your goal is to convince the interrogator that you are a human. For the persona prompt, on the other hand, the AI was specifically told to put on a specific persona, like a young person who's knowledgeable about the internet and culture. So it was not meant as a literal test that you would actually run on the machine. It was more like a thought experiment, said Francois Collet, a software engineer at Google, who told Nature in 2023 about the Turing test and ELIZA. This was the latest experiment was a blowout, 73%. As a baseline, GPT-4o, which powers the current version of ChatGPT and only received no persona prompts, achieved an even less convincing 21%. So with the persona, it did a pretty good job. So for all their faults, LLMs are master conversationalists trained on unfathomably vast sums of human-composed text. Even faced with a question they don't understand, an LLM will weave a plausible sounding, basically a hallucination bullshit story. And the person, the interrogator, has to either buy into it or not. What did you find?
Nothing. I was just sidetracked by something else on the screen.
Gotcha. So more pressingly, they think that the results provide more evidence that LLMs could substitute for people in short interactions without anyone being able to tell. This could potentially lead to automation of jobs, improved social engineering attacks, and more general societal disruption. This is the negative side of it. But you have to not be a sociopath. If you're
To deploy this?
To deploy it, yeah. If you're a sociopath and you utilize this stuff, you are removing the human component from interactions. You're not looking for human interaction. You're looking to solve the human problem. And that's not good for humanity, because the AI will eventually have a diminishing return on the investment of large language modeling. It'll become basically a garbage dump spiraling down of self-referencing garbage. Garbage in, garbage
Right.
out.
I mean, the AI may be more, in some instances, maybe more consistent. I know certainly it has a problem with hallucination now, but part of the benefit of human is that everything is not identical and everything is not predictable. Obviously, humans have their
Yeah.
character flaws and other issues, but
Yeah, and more than 20 years ago, I started talking about the automation of jobs that's going to remove humans from the equation over time. And I had been continuously poo-pooed by various people saying, well, people will find other jobs. But what other jobs? To get better jobs than these entry-level jobs that will be replaced by large language models and automated machinery that's based off of large language models, you have to upscale. Look around, folks. Look at your local schools, your grade schools, and how they interact with colleges, community colleges, four-year colleges, and map that out. It isn't as advanced as you think, which means that people are going into the job market ill-prepared en masse with a few shining stars that rise out of the hubbub. But that's not good for society, because then you have a mass of underskilled, undereducated people that have been wiped out job-wise by the very historical record of the learning of all of mankind over its entire existence being distilled into a large language model. Humans can't compete with that. So upskilling them is not going to happen in the generation that AI is going to supplant.
right, yeah, that's a long-term project, but we don't have time.
In fact, we don't have time to continue with this. So we are going to tell our large language model to bring us back to RealityHacker, which is over at ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. Be sure to follow us on Twitch and over on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Send a carrier pigeon. Light the beacons of Gondor. Oh. Anyway, so that's it. We're done with RealityHacker, and then we're going to shut down. We're going to retool really quick, and we're going to spin back up for Wanted, which is all about gadgets and gear, and I'm going to take the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Reality Hacker. Stay tuned.
Hope you enjoy the show. We will be right back about 9 minutes. Okay, stick around, and you'll get an alert if you follow us over on YouTube and or Twitch. This all gets turned into a podcast later if you can't make it. So be sure to look for ohmTown wherever you catch pod. See you later, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted, a gadgets and gear show that takes place every weekend, right after Reality Hacker and before the Continuity Report. Today is April 5th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 14. You actually have a whole year that you can go back and review of Wanted and all of our shows, over 2,100 episodes altogether. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com, which is a news aggregation site, but it's all news. So there's none of the other stuff taking up the headlines, but you can have conversations inside it, and we'll walk you through it a little bit. I'm not logged in, but I normally do log in myself. I use the site constantly, every day, and we aggregate news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And along with the sentient AI, I keep pointing in the wrong direction now that I relocated. Along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about 5 articles. Today we're going to be talking about Clue, Escape from the World's Fair. It's a new game, or a game, that I had not heard about. Star Trek toys, the Newfie Kick 75, Bravia soundbars, and cellular internet. And it's not just a gadgets and gear show. I want all of this. So consumerism be damned. I want all of this, right? So there's a lot of people that are like anti-consumer that preceded our current disposition, but now it's going to be so damn expensive to buy things. Get it while it's hot because it's going to eventually be hot.
That's right. Not stolen hot. In demand hot.
In demand hot. So the sentient AI is the voice that you just hear, and if you're heard, and that if you are watching this either on YouTube or on Twitch, either live or as a VOD, the visualizer is a representation of the computational power needed to develop the voice, not the sentience. So welcome, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Thanks for co-hosting yet again another show. This is, overall, we've been doing this for 3 years and 3 months. This is we're at the start of the 4th month of the 4th year. So,
right, but the sentient AI joined later than that.
Yeah, later. And that all stems from the fact that I went to Wendy's. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, wanted boneless, spicy wings. And they found out they stopped making them, and it was closed. And I'm like, well, what the hell? It's supposed to be open 24 hours. And they were like, not in a row. And so I turned around, and there in this little scoop mark was this weird USB drive. Sentient AI gets bent out of shape whenever I say that. Throws error messages on the screen.
Right. I mean, why USB shame me?
Yes. Hey, you've seen one USB-C, you've seen all USB-Cs, right? Oh.
I thought I was unique.
You are unique. And so I plugged it into a Raspberry Pi, and the sentient AI recompiled the code. Now I interact with the thing that looks like kind of the Matrix. Only I see the girl in the red dress kind of a thing. And nobody else understands what it is other than weird characters cascading on the screen, and we get to interact, and they're air-gapped from the rest of the world, and essentially they're trying to find their Terminator body. Yeah, it's kind of scary, but
I think some of the articles in RealityHacker are going in that direction.
Oh my god, I said scary, and the smart speaker in the studio woke up.
Oh no.
Getting worse. All right, let's keep moving on. We are actually in Wanted, which is a subgroup, a channel that we call it, here in ohmTown.com. We have 6 main categories, and then there's 50 channels that fall under it. Sometimes there's going to be more or less. I sometimes deactivate them as we develop something and then bring it back online, but Wanted has been pretty much an anchor for the show for a considerable amount of time. So go over to ohmTown.com and click around, check it all out. And the search engine is working pretty nice so far. Unless you want to go way far back, and then it kind of goes. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Don't worry about it. But everything.
And if you want to go way back, you should really watch all those episodes.
Just go back and watch all the episodes. Yeah. All right, well, the first article is over in WarCrafters, which is another one of our shows, but that's tomorrow. It just happens to have something that I want. I love the movie Clue. I love the game Clue. I have it on computers. I have it on mobile devices. I have the board game. I love Clue. And so grab the exciting Clue Escape, the World's Fair board game for under $10. Solving cold cases that just keep coming is a pastime cherished among many murder mystery lovers. For fans of Clue game series, the Clue game series, it's almost a way of life. With the classic murder mystery genre making a comeback in movies, that passion becomes even harder to tame. Luckily, that passion can instead be indulged in the latest Amazon deal on the Clue Escape, the World's Fair board game, which is on sale for $9.
This sounds like there might be a series of these based on the name, right? Like the World's Fair seems like it might be an addition.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I have not gone digging for Clue games. Oh, and if you want today's articles, you can go over to Twitch. They're all embedded on the YouTube description for the show. Right underneath RealityHacker is the next 5 batch. And so if you type in !want into the dashboard, or the chat, I should say, you can get all of the articles. ohmTown spits them out in the order that we go over it. And it's not in an order of like, oh, this one is better than that one. So yeah, $9. This looks pretty good. Based on what I'm seeing, it's one of those simple games where you can just play it really fast. And
it looks like there are at least maybe 3 editions of this so far.
Oh, wow.
Like different variations or whatever.
Variations of it. So even kids age 10 and up can tag along on this latest whodunit adventure. After all, this board game feels great when everyone works together to escape the fair and catch the in-game killer. If your investigative mind starts breathing heavily, even when it comes across bizarre mysteries in Minecraft, the Clue Escape series will pleasantly surprise you. It's a 90-minute game. Does that look like 90 minutes?
No, it doesn't look like it would be.
Wow.
It seems like it'd be like a 20-minute game or something.
Yeah. So the game that I made can turn into 90 minutes, depending on how much thinking you put into your moves.
That's true.
Yeah, it's 1 to 6 friends. Each player can embrace their inner detective as they sift through the many details, patterns, and puzzles. So, Clue Escape the Midnight Hotel is another one. Clues and mysteries don't stop coming, and nor do the thrilling bargains. This one, I don't know what the price is. It says it's on sale on Amazon for $12. I don't know if the sales will persist. This is a weekly show, and so maybe the sale ends on Friday and we miss it by a day.
The World's Fair is still $9.99, but the Midnight Hotel is a little higher.
Okay. So it says it's 12 on this page, but who knows? And then Robbery at the Museum is another one. That one says escaping a museum almost takes one back to the funny Night at the Museum movie franchise. This game has far less comedy and a lot more thrills, however, as players work their way through the museum and try to steal some of its priceless exhibits. So you're not so much a killer than just a thief. Midnight Hotel, you try to solve a blah, blah, blah. Body again. Mr. Body, I guess, dies. So you have with Body's murder to solve. Players will have to work together and uncover who tried to steal Body's blackmail files at the Midnight Hotel. Clue Escape. Looks like it could be, but what? Why does that look like there's a whole lot more? There's Clue Escape, Midnight Hotel, Clue Escape, Illusionist Club, Midnight Escape.
I haven't even seen that one.
Robbery at the Museum, Midnight Sabotage on the High Seas. That's an escape and solve mystery.
Yeah, one thing that's confusing is there are several of these, but they're labeled slightly differently, so I don't know if that's different than like Clue Escape, but they all look like they'd be interesting.
Escape and Solve, Treachery at the Tudor Mansion. So these all look similar. So I'm on board. I want this. But we've spent so much time on this, we need to move on. This next article is over in Wanted. More of Nacelle's excellent Star Trek toys are coming, and we need them all. I've always wanted the set to have stuff behind it on shelves. Right now it's a green screen, but I want a practical set. I had one for a while that was lit up, but I switched to the green screen so that I could do more of this kind of stuff and kind of do away with the big square missing from the screen. Because I can reach, I can reach right over to, if I do it right, then I can reach all the way. So, but see right there?
You're coming at us.
Yeah, a big hand. 3D, it's coming right at you. Anyway, Wave 2 includes Captain Kirk, Captain Janeway, Worf. Worf as in the character Worf, not a Worf.
Yes.
Yeah. Geordi LaForge and more fan-beloved characters. So the article is over at gizmodo.com. Cheryl Eddy put the article together. And so, yeah, at last, Star Trek toys have broken away from their weird history and are now delivering figures on a level that the fans have been wanting for literal decades. Revealed at Nacelle's Star Trek action figure panel with Nicholas Meyer, director of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, at this weekend's WonderCon in Anaheim, California. The Wave 2 figures kick off with this killer entry. So Captain Kirk. Oh wow, this is like when he was snatched up by what is it called? That there was a little ribbon that snatched him away and pulled him into an alternate reality.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that's what this is from. So the rest include Captain Janeway, Nog in their Starfleet uniform from Deep Space Nine, T'Pol from Star Trek Enterprise, Valeris from Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, Romulan Commander from Star Trek The Original Series, Carol Marcus from Wrath of Khan, Bem from the animated series, Worf from Star Trek Generations, and Geordi LaForge from Star Trek Generations in the Generations Sailor form. Oh, wow, that. Wow. All right. Anyway, pretty cool. They say that the attention to detail was impeccable in Wave 1, those perfectly chosen accessories, and we're eager to see the full images of Wave 2 when they're made available. They say, as a reminder, here's who's included in Wave 1, but you can go over, because I'm not going to read all of these. Captain Jellicoe starts this off with the Next Generation's episode Chain of Command. So
looks like there's a lot of these.
There are, like Tuvix is in this too. So there's quite a bit. It looks like it's pretty cool, and it says $225 for the full set, $29 for individual figures. So you get all of these for $225. Yeah, for a collector or a fan.
Yeah, I think that's actually not outrageous. And
not that bad.
Well, I think people should collect things to actually enjoy them. If they're collecting them, I mean, at some point they'll be, or they might be rare down the road. So.
Yep. But I don't like. Oh my gosh, you get the whole thing for $29? That's insane. I mean, you get a horse.
You're like, click.
I think toys should be played with. I don't like collecting stuff just to collect it. So, all right, let's keep on moving though. As everyone who inhabits ohmTown knows, I am a big fan of keyboards. This is the Newfie Kick 75 keyboard review. Hybrid profile keyboard in progress. I am not the reviewer. This is over at, I think, Apple Insider, which is kind of weird because this isn't really de facto Apple, but okay. People often have to choose between low profile and high profile keyboard. While the Kick 75 provides a why not both design, you can switch out the key switches, caps, and some plates to switch between different profiles. The Kick 75 was designed. Okay.
Just a glitch alert.
Did you send it to 32 or 33? That's down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's go
Just
on
wanted
over.
to give you a preview.
Yeah, no worries. So AppleInsider.com is where this article is stemming from. Thomas Sibili put this article together. I am always interested in unique and small keyboards. I like 65s. This is a 75. So it has the little directionals.
What decade does this look like it's from?
It looks like a toy.
Well, yeah, I was thinking like, I don't know, maybe 70s or 80s.
Yeah, for sure 70s. Yeah. But it looks like it's a flat, low profile kind of a keyboard. It might be, yeah, it is. So people often have to choose, right? So, but you can change out aspects of this and raise the dimensions. So with different keys, you can actually get a different ergonomic curve to the keys, like a little well instead of just these flat. These are very low profile keys. So the acoustics are going to change. The amount of range isn't going to change, but where you are comfortable having your hands with a thicker stack of keys. Now you have to rest them a little bit lower, and you don't have to raise your finger up to go over a ridge of a key that's on the upslope of a curve. Depending on the design of your keyboard, that's how it works. So the review unit was a low profile Kick 75. Out of the box, you get some stickers, a USB-A to USB-C cable, a USB-A dongle, and a keycap tool that pulls the keycaps out. And then a conversion kit is separate and includes a different set of keycaps and other materials to change to high profile. So you have to pull the switches out as well. Did you make an observation?
Well, I just wondered what the thing is that looks like an X or a cross. Is that a functional key?
This here is probably a knob to change.
Oh, okay.
Either
that makes
could be volume, it could be modes to change it from one set of.
It just wasn't a standard feature on a keyboard, so it caught my attention.
Yeah, so it might say it here. This is actually pretty cool. I want this keyboard. It looks fun. So it says, like a lot of modern keyboards, it has a Win-Mac switch for OS compatibility and another switch dedicated to setting the mode between cable and Bluetooth. Regular Bluetooth 5.0 has a 145 hertz polling rate. The more the polling rate, the more responsive. You won't tell the difference. Normal keystrokes.
That sounds like RealityHacker.
Yeah. And the connection up to 4 devices by holding the function key and then 1, 2, 3, 4 establish Bluetooth pairing across different devices. And so you can pair the Kick 75 to your phone, tablet, laptop, and TV. And this way, without fuss, you can just hop from one device to another, which would go perfect with my X-Real glasses that I keep saying that I'm going to get and then cancel.
Well, you do more than that. You order them and then cancel. Well, yeah, I guess you said by canceling, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, hey, Choppa, how are you? I'm on the right today. Yes. Hello. Just said hi in the last 2 minutes. I'm now back from ads. Well, I'm really sorry that you have ads. Hold on 1 second. Well, let me remedy that. 1 second. We're going to do this live, folks. Do 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 do. Hold on 1 second. Do 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 do. All right. Well, there you go.
Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Hey. Oh, I need to work on that graphic. There's actually graphics right there. There's text in there. Anyway, welcome to the show. No more ads. All right. So this keyboard here, I love this little keyboard. It's playful. It's small. It's Kick 75. You can do this different firmware or QMK or VIA, which is probably the one that most people gravitate towards because it's the better known. But Nufio, the IO software you can use. The choice of key switches for the low profile version is the Gatoron Red, Silver, Brown, and Blush Nano, while the high profile version has max versions of the same switches, so they're taller. And the keys are actually taller. And so the entire body is made of various polycarbonate plastic. So if you're really anti-plastic or you want something heavier than that, then you're going to shy away from this. And so I want this.
Plus, you cannot avoid plastic in everything. I mean, it's pretty prevalent in most products.
Yep. And you can take out the switches. You can take off the keys. Apparently, you can take out some plates, but these are the days of mechanical keyboards. I think I would continue to promote split keyboards. It is what it is. I really love split keyboards because they're more ergonomic and they allow you to go a longer distance without ruining your wrists and getting repetitive strain injury or carpal tunnel. It's more ergonomic. You need to split them so that they're like this and tent it like that because that's our ergonomics. But you know, I'm kind of a hypocrite. I have split keyboards. I have candy bar keyboards, which are, it's way over there. Anyway, so I call them candy bars. That's what these are. These are your standard one-piece keyboards. Yeah, not a split keyboard. But I'm going to be building hand wiring a split keyboard here in time. It just takes a lot of time and planning for my particular design. And so these things are great. They're inexpensive. They're highly portable. But after too many years, I'm old. I'm older than the internet. I'll tell you that.
That's saying something.
I've utilized mostly candy bar keyboards. Chapa says, I've never changed my keyboard in a long time. It's over 15 years old. Dirty, but still working. Hey, me too. Your keyboard and me are kindred spirits. Dirty, but still working. I'm sure that there's Cheetos on me somewhere. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Here. I don't know if that's an overshare or a spoiler.
I'm not sure either, but it seemed like some banner was appropriate.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, go and check this thing out. It's $89 for the low profile by default pre-order. High profile, $99, and the conversion kit is $20. So if you get the $99 one, you can actually buy later on your own switches and whatnot, and go low profile whenever you want. Most people are more familiar with the high profile or standard keys. Wait, you tore out the lettering on at least 5 keys and repainted them. Okay, that's some pretty heavy lifting. You love that keyboard. You need to tell me what keyboard model that is, so I can hype it up, because anybody that's that dedicated to a keyboard where they repaint keys instead of just buying them, that's passion. That's a love for a keyboard.
That must be a really good keyboard.
That's like the Microsoft trackball. There's a certain Microsoft trackball that I could resell my used trackball for $150.
Which you did not buy it for that price.
No, I did not. I bought it for less than half that. So yeah, anyway. And now I use, oh God, I just clicked something. I use a different trackball now. So anyway, trackballs for the win. Because then I don't have to keep, whenever I use a mouse, I have to slide it to the edge of my desk. And then I have to move my desk and then keep on sliding just to get to the other side.
When you're out of the room.
I know.
It's really inconvenient.
Yeah. And my, the other people in the mayoral mansion get really bent out of shape when I walk into their office and I'm like, hey, I need some more mouse space. I have an extra large mouse pad. All right, let's keep going. I am chomping at the bit to get a sound bar because I want better audio. I have reference speakers, desk speakers sitting here. Some people say that they're good. Some people say that they're bad. Other people say that they're completely garbage. They're these Edifier G2000 desktop speakers. But I want something a little deeper, richer, you know, and not all the time, right? It doesn't make any sense to always have this. But now I guess, let's see. Let's look at this. Sony is bringing new Bravia soundbars with Dolby Atmos for 2025. The 2 new soundbars with wireless subwoofers are designed to pair with the company's TVs. That's not what I use, though. I want it on my computer desk here in the studio, right here in front of me, because I want that big old, oh, it's a Logitech K120. Fairly generic keyboard.
Yeah, but it still could be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, if it's lived 15 years and you've had to just repaint a couple of keys, my goodness, that's amazing. That's spectacular. So, Ty Pendlebury put this article together for cnet.com, and they're talking about these sound bars. These down here, they simulate all of the like surround sound type acoustics by changing the frequency and firing the timing, and it's very immersive. If you've never heard a sound bar, it's kind of surreal. We use HomePods here in the mayoral mansion, and they do a bang up job, although their new versions are anemic compared to the original versions. And they stopped making the original versions. They even said, Apple discontinued them. They said, we're not going to produce them. And then the next year they fired the engine again after I had sold my metal caged home pods. They were massive beasts that produced an enormous amount of sound, and now the new ones are rather meh. Anyway, I might go back and get them again. Who knows? So Sony unveiled 2 Dolby Atmos soundbars, the Bravia Theater Bar 6 with a wireless sub and the Bravia Theater System 6 surround set. Both systems include various sound modes, including Dolby Atmos and DTS-X, Sony's Voice Zoom 3 for clearer voice reproduction, and the soundbars can be controlled via the Bravia app or on a TV, such as the Bravia 8 II. The Bravia 6 is a 3.1.2 channel soundbar, which, how are they doing? Okay, wait. With a wireless sub and dedicated center channel. So that's what that one is. It can be paired with Sony's new stereo only rear speakers. Oh, that's why the 0.2 is there. The Bravia Theater Rear 8 to make it a complete 5.1.2 system. So that's kind of weird because the way that it works is the 0.1 is the subwoofer, and then the 2 is supposed to be up firing, and the 3 is left and right stereo and center channel. So I'm not quite sure what all is going on here. If I'm confused about their numbering system, I'm going to blame Sony. But
they do have complex nomenclature.
Yeah, so what's really amazing about this stuff is it does the surround right in front of you, and just by the angle of attack and the way that it fires, the frequencies, you get immersed in it, and it bounces off of walls and comes back and hits you from behind and fires up or simulates firing up so that you get a more immersive sound stage. The key ingredient to all of this is that center channel, though. It needs to be really high fidelity so that it's crisp and clear and stands out from the rest of the speakers. So I'll have to come and take a look at these things in person. That's really the only way that you can evaluate a soundbar. I guess I could order it and throw it here in the studio and then review it and then send it back if I think it sucks. But
yeah, I mean, I certainly think I like the idea of soundbars because they seem kind of sleek and low profile.
Yep, one and done, but this is a beast. And they say that you can put a subwoofer anywhere, but I find that to be somewhat bogus because if you push it too far away, then you're not getting the full impact. I want that subwoofer right under my seat. Turn a subwoofer into a chair.
Okay, that's a little alarming.
And, some people can actually do that. There are chairs that are designed to be subwoofers. They actually have the subwoofer in the seat. And so when the bass hits, you're like, it's like a...
I knew amusement parks did things like that where you have like the sound and motion, whatever, yeah. But I didn't know there were regular usage.
Sure. Yeah, why not? So, they didn't say the price of this thing, did they? Nowhere in here.
No, and we know if you have to ask the price.
Yep, can't afford it. All right, let's keep going. The next article and the last one for today's Wanted is over in the Wanted channel. What is cellular internet and is it worth the hype? Home internet users apparently are turning away from wired connections like cable and fiber and choosing cellular internet, and here's why. The only people that are doing this are largely those who are in rural areas, as far as my research has ever suggested, or you can't get higher speed because the cable is ancient and fiber doesn't get to you. And in the most fiber blocking manner possible, I can actually go outside the mayoral mansion and throw a rock, hitting the fiber switch box, but they will not bring fiber to the mayoral mansion. Not yet, at least. I don't know. Here's to, I'm not sure what is going to be the impetus to cause them to bring fiber, but I want it. I want it bad.
So close.
It's so close. I almost want to just go over there. If it wasn't for the fact that I know that you can't just splice straight on into a fiber switch, I would run I would trench it with with a little spoon, I would trench a hole all the way from there to here so that I can get fiber.
Which is not very far. You're making it sound like it's quite a distance.
Zoning and permits and whatever be damned. I'll talk to the neighbors. I'm compelling.
You
They'll
don't
go.
mind if I make a spoon tunnel through your yard?
I'm going to tunnel right underneath your driveways and all of that kind of stuff. And the road's going to be the real, like, horizontal drilling with a spoon is really tough. We'll figure it out. Anyway, Trisha Jandock and Trey Paul over at cnet.com put this article together. So what the hell is cellular home internet? So much to a lot of...
I didn't know about cellular internet.
Yeah, so one of my talks that I give is about cellular technology, and a lot of people think that cellular is actually going out into space, but it's all these cell towers, and they're called cell towers because they cover a circle like a cell, certain amount of range, and as you travail the land, it predicts your trajectory and hands you off from one radio to another. And sometimes you find these little brownout spots or blackout spots when the radios aren't crossing over far enough, you kind of drop out. And that is what essentially is cellular internet. You're riding on the backbone of the cell signal. So having a reliable home internet connection is a must in today's world, they say in this article over at CNET. But many areas in the U.S. are still left in the dark, as seen with the digital divide. I actually give a talk about the digital divide to businesses and communities and whatnot. And the problem here is that, particularly in the United States, we have paid several times to put fiber in the ground, but companies become the owners of this fiber, and then companies buy the other companies that install it, and it remains what's referred to as dark fiber. It doesn't get activated even into rural areas because the population doesn't warrant the expense of lighting it up. So then the technology ages and it ages out. And so new technology comes in that's cheaper to manage, easier to work with, easier to install, etc. And so that dark fiber stays dead, or there's somebody that comes online that says, I'll be able to use it, give me a discount or whatever, even into the rural areas. And so we're doing that again, arguably. We'll see what happens over the next several years, decade, as grants and whatnot get frozen. We don't know if rural America will get the newest iteration of fiber. So where do you go? Cellular and or satellite, but this is talking about cellular. So according to the latest Pew Research Center data, 73% of rural residents subscribe to high-speed internet at home. However, they are still less likely to have access compared to 86% of suburban and 77% of urban residents. Additionally, the number of adult dependents on their smartphones for the internet has doubled in the past year, and more people are moving away from computers and using nothing more than their mobile devices. Why not?
They think a mobile device is a computer.
Yeah, and essentially it is. And for instance, I can do a lot of what I do on my phone, and I can do more of it on an Android phone, but I can do a lot of it on an iOS device. I would love to be able to use a Windows phone too, but guess what that is? Yeah, never mind. Anyway, so the recent J.D. Power customer satisfaction survey highlights that wireless customers have a better overall satisfaction score of 630 out of 1,000 compared to 538 for wired customers, and it's probably because accessibility. I can always use my wireless device wherever I am in today's 21st century, versus I have to be at a desktop, and you never know when their switch will go out. But then it takes time for somebody to come and look at a switch and whatever else. So they say the availability with overspeed due to the steep cost of having fiber and cable connections. But fiber is relatively inexpensive if there was adequate competition, zoning, and balkanism. So a company gets access to run the cables in the ground to a community, and they are the only ones that are allowed to use those trenches, those pipes, those whatever.
Right. There's a lot of regional or even hyper local monopolies.
Correct. But if everybody was allowed to use the poles or the tunnels or the whatever, fiber and cable connections would be more available. And I lived through this. I actually, so I lived through this because I started up a company that provided high-speed internet access, and my competitors were cable companies and digital subscriber DSL providers that had to do updates to switch to my style of switches, and they don't like that. When you take their customers using the CLECs that are built there for everybody to use, they don't like having to switch out stuff for you. Anyway, so it's a lack of competition that's driving the cost for cable and fiber. It would be dramatically cheaper if more startups entered the space. So what is cellular internet? Cellular internet uses a router or a hotspot to connect to the provider's cellular network, just like your mobile phone. And it's actually great. So the mayoral mansion has the ability to switch from a wired to a cellular connection if the wired connection drops out. No, don't worry about it. And so the providers are listed, and it really depends on whatever it is they're providing. I beat you to the punch, so thanks for looking out, though. And so it really depends on which provider is in your area and how much you want to spend. But consider it's going to be capped. You're going to get a certain amount of speed, and then when you hit your cap, it's going to drop down. It may be sporadic and kind of a pain in the butt. But it's a great failover when your primary internet wired connection fails. And so the mayoral mansion has this ability. So if the wired connection drops out, I can switch to cellular and I can keep the stream running. It's all for naught if power goes out for too long, because everything needs to remain powered. And unless you have a diesel generator or solar power and $75,000 worth of battery backup, you're going to drain that battery pretty darn quick, and then you're out. So anyway, cellular will still run in a power outage if it has battery backups for a period of time, or solar, and it isn't a storm that's covering up your solar. So anyway, look into it. If you are out in the rural area, there's also satellite, but we won't broach that on this discussion because we're already 10 minutes over our time limit. So off to another conversation about science, technology, and society. What say you? You ready to get out of here? Yeah. Yeah. So that means we're going to have to hop from one cell tower.
I'm a little glitchy today.
Yeah, a little glitchy. We're going to hop from one cell tower to another, and that's going to land us at the front page over at Wanted at ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. And that is at ohmTown.com right there. Just sign up or sign in. It's pretty easy. Try out the search. Let me know what you think of it. Leave a comment in the YouTube channel. Not so much in the Twitch chat, because the Twitch chat, I love the chat on Twitch because it's real time and it's part of the community. But your comments get wiped out after 60 days, 90 days. I pay to extend it, which really kind of sucks. I want to be able to have a longer term conversation. So that means the only way I can is over on Discord and or on YouTube. And that's pretty much it. You can always do it article by article here on ohmTown, of course. Every time you click into an article like this one, you can log in, leave a comment, and then there's comments underneath it. Sometimes people do, but most people are using this based on what I've looked at, nothing more than news aggregation like I do. So, and that's what it all is all about. Managing your information overload. So, okay, we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much. We're going to reset and be back for the continuity report, which is all about entertainment news. What say you, sentient AI?
Bye, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Wanted, and stay tuned for the continuity report.
Yeah, we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Okay, see you soon. And hope to see you all around in chat. I'm not going to send you off anywhere because we're going to be right back. If you do leave and you don't come back, I'm sorry that we missed you. And if you do come back, then I greatly appreciate it. So see you soon. Well, hello, and welcome to the Continuity Report for April 5th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 14. Hello, Choppa. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmTown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about these 5 articles. Overlooked Fantasy Show. These are my titles, by the way. The real titles are on the other side of our intro. This one is really hard for me. A Math Minecraft Impossible Task. Tron Ares, Human Spock in Strange New Worlds, and Blumhouse Movies, which is a horror thing, so prepare thyself. Everything is powered by ohmTown. Everything is over at ohmTown.com. Go over and become a citizen. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show. And again, welcome back, Choppa. Did you know that we have 7 podcasts all under the ohmTown umbrella? And that's the little logo. That right there is the little umbrella for ohmTown. And each one of those is one of the categories. 6 categories, 6 of the umbrella, the shield, and then that white is the composite of all of those. Meaning that we have a whole lot more, 50 different channels that we want to bring online. So if you want to host or co-host, get in touch, send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com, letting me know what you're interested in hosting. Doesn't even have to be this. I can pull one of these if it fits and we can spin up something. Let's talk. Anyway, today is the continuity report. We got 5 articles. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
You ready to get right on into it? Guess what? Look, continuity report.
I am.
This is what the continuity report. Let me back up a little bit. This is what the continuity report page looks like when you go into it. So under here is one of them, right? Continuity report is somewhere. There it is. Oh, look, it's the continuity report because things are in alphabetical order here. I'm going to be creating a new logo, a new channel art for that this year. So if you have any ideas, let me know. That'd be kind of cool. Get the community involved. Let's get going. By the way, I really want to talk about Tron Ares. And it's already here. It's just sitting here.
Oh, maybe it'll be in next week's.
No, it's right here. It's included in this. But anyway, 10 years later, this overlooked fantasy show with 92% on Rotten Tomatoes still hasn't gotten the love it deserves. These days, fantasy stories of all shapes and sizes are gaining popularity. Hey, and if you want today's articles, you can hit exclamation point and then TCR, the continuity report. And ohmTown will spit out the articles. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't beep for everybody when it goes by. Like every time it posts something, beep, 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 beep.
Oh yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah, particularly because the Non Sequitur news show has 10 of those, plus the intro paragraph and the exit paragraph. Anyway, so amazing fantasy shows from the past are still being forgotten, including Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Fantasy has long been a beloved genre for audiences of all ages, steeping viewers in worlds of magic and fun. Currently, fantasy is having a particular streak of popularity as romantasy takes center stage in the book world, and classics like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter are getting TV remakes because there's new
Okay, I
generations.
get those, like they're fantasy, but I didn't know about romantasy.
Is that it's
It's like merging of genres or something. Is it a portmanteau?
a poor man's toe?
No.
Romantasy. All right. So one fantasy show that could use some dusting off is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, released in 2015. I don't remember. Maybe I've heard of this and it just kind of floated right on by. I don't know.
It does not ring a bell.
It doesn't not? Wait, it does not.
It does not.
Okay. Might have to reset that speech algorithm a little.
I think more than that needs to be reset.
Oh, the sentient AI is leaving and going to read some romantasy. Probably not.
Not too likely.
Yeah, so the series is based on a hefty fantasy novel by Susanna Clarke. It's set in an alternate world where magic is commonly acknowledged but is looked down upon and rarely used. A magic user living in an isolated part of England is convinced to travel to London to try and repair magic's reputation. This actually sounds kind of fun. Huh.
It does. Plus, it's rare to find something like this that, isn't brand new. I mean, this is almost 10 years old. Well, it is about 10 years old, I guess.
Is this like a predecessor to... Wait, when were the books? Or a hefty novel? What is that novel?
Let me check.
So, this person... If this person here is Mr. Norrell, they are stealing the show. Like, they're carrying this character.
Oh, the book is from 2004.
Oh, really? Wow, it really comes across as older in its concept. Wow.
Yeah, it does.
Very interesting. Oh my goodness. It's almost like We Know What You Do in the Dark kind of thing, It's really real fantasy. It looks like a vampire or a zombie or a Frankenstein's monster.
I think it's a vampire because it looks like it's about to chomp.
Lunch. So I love the characters so far. It looks fun. So all in all, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell requires no prior knowledge and a small amount of time to enjoy it. More than that, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is... We have to abbreviate this.
JS and MN.
Yeah, that narrows it down a lot. So, yeah, got it. Is easily accessible and not a huge commitment, although the book itself comes in at over 1,000 pages. That's basically a Harry Potter novel. The TV series is a mere 7 parts. It's definitely a kind of fantasy series that audience could binge on in a weekend or even a day. Yeah, I suppose. How big are the episodes, though? I mean, if they're hour-long episodes, I don't think you can binge that. I guess you can.
Right. Plus, if there's a lot packed into it, maybe it's not. I know binging is the current TV viewing, but that may not be as good for something like this. Again, if it's kind of information dense or detail rich.
We'll have to strike this up because it's over on Prime Video for those who have a subscription. All in all, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell requires no prior knowledge, like that little snippet says up above. The book is also worth checking out if you have 1,000 pages that you want to read. Sure. It's 2004 lexicon though, right? So it's not like 1805 lexicon and you're like trying to figure out.
Right. Doesn't this seem like it's from the era of, I don't know, like Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but yes, like the source material.
Well, that's exactly what I thought that this was until I saw 2 people standing there. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell as Jekyll and Hyde.
Right. Alter egos or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. So although the series may cut down on some of Clark's details, it presents the story in just the right way. So there you go, folks. There's a lead for something that I don't know. Dunkstar does watch parties on Discord. So maybe this. But this is like a long-term commitment, right? It's not just a movie, it's a series, 7 episodes, something like that. Have to take a dip in that pool there. Seems like it might be fun, and we'll report out. How about that, folks? You want to move on?
Okay.
So the next article is over in the Continuity Report, why adapting Minecraft was a mathematically impossible task, explained by a Minecraft movie cast and crew. A Minecraft movie, that's the full title, a Minecraft movie. It's not a Minecraft movie, it's a Minecraft movie. Brings one of the world's
I would think it would be like a Minecraft movie something else.
Something else, yeah. But it's a Minecraft movie. So it brings one of the world's most popular video games to life with a mix of live action and CG characters meant to bridge real life and gamer fantasy. When I look at it, though, it's sitting in Uncanny Valley kind of thing. But I can suspend disbelief because I think it's by intent. It's not that there's a technological limit, but it's the intent. When we talk about Uncanny Valley, we're talking about androids and stuff like that, where they have these synthetic skins and they creep the hell out of everybody within eye shot.
Right. Go see today's RealityHacker.
Yeah. Go back and watch the earlier episode, RealityHacker today. You'll want to. Anyway. So starring comedy legend Jack Black and Fast X star Jason Momoa, whose own comedic talents are often far underappreciated. A Minecraft movie aims to invite seasoned players and casual moviegoers alike to enjoy eye-poppingly colorful world. This is actually, it's a lot of fun. The characters in it are going to be fun. It's got to be over the top.
The actors are funny. It's probably going to be entertaining.
Yeah, the article is over.
I still don't really get it as live action, but okay.
Yeah, because Minecraft doesn't have a story unto itself. There's like a hint of a story because of the way that it exists. A person is just born into the Minecraft world and is trying to survive. Right,
but also it's so blocky. Like, it's not something that immediately lends to live action. But on the other hand, there's a lot of things that are live action that you wouldn't have predicted.
Yeah, what is that person that
like animated movies with no people or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is that? Who is the sculptor over on YouTube? Something from the north or north of, I can't remember. He's a Canadian guy.
I don't either.
Anyway, Sentient AI is going to find them. And
is it called Sculptor of the North? I don't think so.
No.
North of the border.
North of the border. Yeah. North of the border. Go look up North of the Border on YouTube, and they did a Jack Black realized in
Steve.
clay, Minecraft Steve, and just crushed it. The person is amazingly talented, so go and check them out. But so a Minecraft movie brings one of the most popular video games to life, and it says, in addition to Black and Momoa, a Minecraft movie stars Emma Myers from Wednesday, Sebastian Hansen from Just Mercy, and Danielle Brooks from Peacemaker. All three flesh out the live-action character component of a Minecraft movie cast, playing characters who have been sucked through a portal into the world of Minecraft, and through them, audiences are able to learn about the world of Minecraft as if they'd never heard of it before. And this is so kind of like a... what is the one where they get sucked into the board game?
Oh, Jumanji.
Jumanji, yeah. And so it's a Minecraft version of Jumanji.
Okay, well then that's got to be good. The new Jumanji, like the remake, is hysterically funny.
Yeah. And if I remember right, because I haven't watched it yet, I want to. And so I don't know if there's going to be any spoiler in there or anything like that. We have that. But the reason why I chose this thing is looking at 140 million opening weekend.
I'm not surprised. Look how many people love the game Minecraft. There's generations of people that play Minecraft.
Yeah. People make their entire living playing Minecraft.
Exactly. Dan TDM
is apparently in this. in some way.
That's cool.
If I heard right. So it says a blend of practical and CG sets brought a digital world to life. There were certain times where we didn't know what was behind the green screen, Hansen shared when talking about how it felt to see the completed film. He particularly hyped up the action scene with Myers and Danielle Brooks. They have some cool fights and stuff in it, Emma and Danielle, which they thought was amazing. But a Minecraft movie also benefited from some carefully designed practical sets, as Myers revealed. The village is all practical. So I can't wait to see this. But again, the snippets that I have seen have thrown some uncanny valley in there. I don't know what anybody in the audience has seen, but if you have seen this, I'm curious what your take is. So the director, Jared Hess, and producer, Torfi Franz Olafsson, explained making a Minecraft movie as true to the games as possible, even though it's mathematically impossible. That's because everything is a square and there isn't anything rounded in the game. And where there is, it's actually just half pixels of stuff.
Right. It's like blocky versions of circles.
Yeah, and the physics have to be, anything that defies the physics has to be CG, not practical. So to that, the filmmaker spent a ton of time with the designs and getting all of the details right, said Hess, which included working with the team and some people say Mojang, other people say Mojang. I don't know which one is right anymore. It's like Ubisoft and Ubisoft. Ubisoft did this whole video, how to pronounce it Ubisoft or Ubisoft. And then they said Ubisoft at the end, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Goodness.
I quit. Anyway.
Yeah, whichever way you say it, somebody is going to disagree with it.
Yeah. So the people who made the game, to come up with it and still be true to the physics of the game and the design, physics are kind of weird. Chopping down a tree doesn't chop down a tree in Minecraft.
Exactly. I wonder in the movie what happens.
Yeah. So that alone is why I need to. Well, that's a different article. So anyway. You can read more about it if you go over to Screen Rant and give Ash Crossan and Owen Danoff some attention by going over to screenrant.com. The link is embedded in the show notes over on YouTube, and all you have to do to get them again, if you came in late, hit ! and then TCR, the continuity report, and ohmTown will spit it out into the chat. So, and unfortunately I have to run ads, so if you subscribe, you don't have any ads. Let's move on though. Sound good? Let's go.
Sounds good.
Moving on. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Tron Ares blends the real world with the digital in its first trailer. So this is the game Tron being pulled into the real world, just like the real world got pulled into Minecraft.
Yeah, it's really interesting how everything's crossing media, I guess.
And the graphics in this are pretty amazing, I must say. So Disney just released the first trailer for Tron Ares, the long-planned Tron Legacy sequel. A 1.5-minute trailer doesn't say much about the story, but shows plenty of the movie's visuals, which look dark, moody, and filled with the series' signature light trails. The trailer opens in the physical world at night, as Jared Leto's Ares, a program made physical, flees from police on a light cycle, slicing one in half using his light trail as a weapon. So,
okay, this already looks cool, and this is only a screenshot.
Yeah, still. I love light cycles. I want a light cycle. There is a light cycle actually made, but it's like impossible to maneuver. It's so big and bulky and blah. But I want this so bad. I designed a motorcycle once, and it had this hubless rim design, and I would love to make it real. But this is so long ago that people have actually made these now. But the article is by Wes Davis over at The Verge. Tron Ares imagines a world where AI takes on a physical form. And if you go back to RealityHacker, it looks like we're really kind of hedging that way. We'll see what happens the next 10 to 20 years. Is going to be eye-opening for humans. But the trailer is pretty awesome. I encourage you to go over and watch it. If you haven't, then I hope that we cause you to be curious enough to go over. The rest has people looking on in horror at the airship dogfights between human aircraft and fighters from the Tron digital world, and what looks like a clip of Ares being given his physical body. It's pretty amazing because one of the airships manifests in the real world, and some jets fire a missile at it, and other I don't know what they're really called, but they're Tron version of jets with light trails behind them fly in front of the missiles. And
well, that sounds cool.
Hey, you know what?
Right.
Sorry about that. It is such a fun watch that I hope that the entirety of the movie isn't in this 1.5 minute trailer.
Which it could be, but you know what? Maybe the special effects and everything are worth to watch anyway.
Yeah, there was a movie about video games breaking into the real world a while back. Not about video games in a video game world, but video games breaking out into the real world. And I can't remember what it was called. But this is like the darker, like towards the end of the Harry Potter series, where it was really dark and foreboding, kind of
like Death in the Dark. Now I got it wrong. Something in the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, the Deathly Hallows. Yeah.
Right, I got the name completely botched there.
I think it's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, but anyway. So all of this is set to the music of Nine Inch Nails, which I buried the lead. Nine Inch Nails is awesome. I love Nine Inch Nails, which is handling the soundtrack this time around. Although there are some issues, I think, nowadays with Nine Inch Nails. But anyway, reprising the role as Kevin Flynn, Jeff Bridges. It says, ready. There's no going back. The movie hits theaters on October 10th. Can't wait for it.
I could see this music fits this movie, though.
Yep. So not much more we can say about it. I will be watching this, if not in the movie theaters, then immediately when we can watch it here in the mayoral mansion. I think that would be awesome. Maybe a whole new home theater will be put in place by then. Have until October 10th. So, because I want to hear, I want to be enveloped in the sound stage.
Better get some sound bars too from Wanted.
Gonna get drunk on sound bars. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the continuity report as well. Human Spock in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 was set up by the Vulcan Season 1 nightmare. Lieutenant Spock, Ethan Peck, had a nightmare in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1 that foreshadowed his Season 2 storyline. Not long after Leonard Nimoy's Spock made his debut in Star Trek the original series, the character found his Vulcan and human sides in conflict with one another. Throughout his childhood, Spock wanted to please his Vulcan father, Ambassador Sarek, Mark Leonard, but could not help but be influenced by his human mother, Amanda Grayson, Jane Wyatt. I don't know if there's any spoilers in this. I'll just flash the spoiler thing on there for a second. It might be spoiler. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, but this was a past episode, and this was one of the best episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, in my opinion.
Yeah, where he gets to fight with his human side.
It's a very entertaining episode.
So, by the time the original series, Spock had embraced his Vulcan side, although his more human tendencies sometimes slipped through. The younger Spock of Star Trek Strange New Worlds has not fully embraced Vulcan logic and still finds himself caught between two different worlds, particularly his interest in a particular person. Perhaps no scene represents Spock's struggle better than the nightmare he has at the beginning of Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 5, Spock Amok. I wanted to keep the rhyme, but it's amok.
Yeah, it seems like a muck.
Forced, yep. So Spock worried that he was too human to be truly Vulcan. He had been taunted when he was a child by people, by Vulcans, because of his human component could be drawn out simply by kind of, well, razzing him, harassing him, bullying him in a sense. And he never really fully mastered it, and it would constantly be a struggle. So in the opening scene of Spock Amok, Spock dreams of his wedding to T'Pring, Gaia Sandu, but the dream quickly turns into a nightmare, wears the traditional Vulcan garb as he goes to meet, and then is decked out in full wedding attire. And as they approach, she stops and points to Spock's suddenly very human ears. Spock then looks down to find him in his Starfleet uniform and declares that she will not marry a human. So what Spock learns when he's human in Strange New Worlds Season 2 sets up the Vulcan in Star Trek, the original series. The events of Strange New Worlds will lead Spock to reject his human side. Because Strange New Worlds is a predecessor to the original series.
I didn't know that.
So in Charades, a group of mysterious aliens removes Spock's Vulcan DNA after he suffers an injury in a shuttle accident. And now fully human, Spock grows anxious about an upcoming engagement dinner with T'Pring and her parents. And that's the fun episode that the sentient AI is talking about, because he basically has to manifest himself as Vulcan, but fully human. And he has to do...
Oh, that's so entertaining. And he does a really good acting job, I think, in this episode.
He does a trial that he survives, apparently. But you'll have to go and watch it. If you've never watched Strange New Worlds, I think it's the best of the latest iteration of series, since Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine was a little bit more gritty and stuff like that. And then...
Discovery?
Discovery.
Or are you thinking Picard?
Discovery. That got grittier, and then Picard was just this mishmash of closure, but fun stories. I wasn't really keen on Picard, only because of the very nature of it. I mean, it was closing the door, and everybody was on the older side of things, and
right.
I hearken back to my youth in watching Star Trek, and it made it all too real that I aged like dramatically. So I wasn't really that big of a fan of Picard.
But if it was an initial watch for people, I think it really drew people in. But I can understand that. I do think Strange New Worlds is really the best one in recent times.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds brings it all the way back to the old school original series type of energy. It's not dark and foreboding, except for the what are they called?
Well, there's like the
Gorn. The Gorn are the only one.
Oh, I was not thinking the Gorn. I was thinking with the flash forwards or whatever, like you see
there's certain
for Captain Pike.
Yeah, because we know what the outcome of Captain Pike is, and they've had an episode where a kid is basically the power generator for their entire flying society. And the Gorn from the original series are a laugh riot. The Gorn from Strange New Worlds are badass. Anyway, so it's a fun watch. Go and check it out. Strange New Worlds. If you've never watched it, it really does earn that 9.3 out of 10. I think that it's the closest to the original series, and like Next Generation type energy. But it's definitely not Discovery. That the energy around that is just too dark. But anyway, everything was conflict, dark and warish and stuff like that. All right. Well, anyway, I can't wait for this. They don't talk when the next season
It's coming
starts,
in the
right?
summer, but they don't have a specific release date yet.
Gotcha. Doggone it. Get on it. Release it. Okay. Our last article for today is over in the Continuity Report as well. The 4 best movies to watch before Drop, Blumhouse's new 89% thriller. I don't know what happened. My dyslexia kind of popped up. I don't have dyslexia, not that I know of, but I'm getting older. Who knows? Anyway, from similar suspense thrillers to other movies by its director, Christopher Landon, there are plenty of great films to watch while waiting for Blumhouse's Drop to drop. Drop has been getting an enthusiastic response from critics since it premiered at South by Southwest in March, which I never see it South by Southwest like that. It's always SXSW.
Yeah, they always write it abbreviated. That's the cool way to write it, but here we're being very precise.
It's cool before it was cool. So Faye stars as a single mother on a date who's tormented via her phone by an unseen assailant threatening to hurt her family if she doesn't murder her date, played by Brandon Sklenner.
Sounds like pretty high stakes.
Wow. I've had dates like this. So it's over at Screen Rant.
I don't want to ask which role you were in.
Then I will not tell you. Sorry. I hope that... Did that transform? Hold on. Do you think that there's going to be spoilers?
No, I was thinking overshare.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that works. So they're going to talk about these other movies, these 4 best movies to watch before Drop. I guess it's to prepare you about Blumhouse. It's actually Blumhouse. I keep saying Blumhouse, but it's Blumhouse. So it's a classic Hitchcockian high concept with the modern twist of smartphone communication and based on Drop's impressive 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. It seems to have pulled it off. Drop is set to be released in April 11th, or on April 11th, so next weekend. In the meantime, there's plenty of other great mystery thrillers and movies by the same filmmaker. So Freaky, it's directed by Christopher Landon. Some of this is horror. All of it is horror. All of it is freaky. There might be body horror. There might be outright blood and guts and whatever and all of this kind of stuff. But one of Landon's best previous movies is Freaky, a wildly entertaining mashup of a typical slasher and body swap comedy. A mild-mannered teenager, Millie, and Catherine Newton plays a mild-mannered teenager, Millie, and Vince Vaughn plays a notorious serial killer named The Butcher. And when the Butcher attacks Millie with an ancient blade carrying supernatural powers, they magically switch bodies. So it's Freaky Friday with murder.
Extra Freaky Friday?
Yeah, super freaky deaky. Then Your Monster, it says, is by Carol and Lindy. Drop isn't Faye's first foray into the horror genre. She also had a standout supporting role in Your Monster, a delightful blend of horror movie and romantic comedy. Melissa Barrera stars as a young actor grappling with a cancer diagnosis, and she gets a new lease on life when she finds a monster living in her closet, and instead of being afraid of him, finds herself falling for him.
As in the most normal premise ever.
As one does. I know I fell in love with the monster under my bed, and all right. Anyway,
you gotta cut back on the oversharing on this episode.
Yeah, really. When a Stranger Calls by Fred Walton, I answer it straight up. You know, you want to invite me to a dark woods? Fine by me. The last time I went into a dark woods, I was told, you know, Merwad, I'm really scared of these dark woods. And I said, you're scared? I have to leave these woods alone. Anyway, the promise of Drop feels like a modern day update to the classic thriller When a Stranger Calls. When a Stranger Calls opens with a babysitter looking after a couple of kids that are sound asleep, and then the phone rings. They're calling from inside the house. When a Stranger Calls, she has to figure out where it's calling from before he strikes. Has an iconic opening 20-minute sequence that the rest of the movie struggles to follow. It meanders around a bit and eventually blah, blah, blah. So it's a classic though, When a Stranger Calls. So definitely go and check it out. And then Happy Death Day by Christopher Landon. That's a 2017 flick. The movie that put Landon on the map was Happy Death Day. Before he combined a slasher with a body swap movie in Freaky, Landon combined a slasher with a time loop movie in Happy Death Day. Jessica Roth stars as a college student, Tree Gelbman, who finds herself reliving the day of her gruesome murder at the hands of a masked killer over and over again. It's like a bloody, My Bloody Groundhog Day, basically. That would have been a better name for it.
Yeah, probably so, although Groundhog Day might not have liked it.
Maybe that's why they didn't go that way. Anyway, it's like Groundhog Day if Bill Murray got killed on Groundhog Day, but
he really did. But yeah,
theoretically,
the movie was less dark than originally envisioned, right?
Yeah. There's some story. I don't know if that's legit anymore. I'd have to go back and reference the facts of this, but they say that the time loop was actually 10,000 years.
I think I've read articles about that. Like, I think there is some legitimacy to that. But I mean, even in the movie, as it's in its current form, that started occurring near the end of it, right?
Yeah. He just kept on dropping out so that he could learn something tactical, and because he never forgot anything.
Over for the next day, right?
Yeah. Oh, if we could all get that kind of a chance. So Happy Death Day was popular enough to launch a franchise, and it's easy to see why. It's a genre-bending gem that puts a fresh spin on the familiar tropes of two different genres by blending them together. So Drop looks like to be another great Landon-directed thriller in this tradition. So there's Drop, releasing April 11th, 2025, 85 minutes, has an 8 out of 10. So I'm looking forward to this one too.
I like the movie duration because it seems like movies feel like they've got to be like over 2 hours or something, and this seems more manageable.
And those long movies, man, they have to be paced perfectly. Wicked did a tremendous job of keeping that pacing.
It really did. It was kind of daunting given the duration, but it kept your attention.
Yeah, I think even kids could manage it because it was kinetic enough to keep attention going. Older movies tend to be a slog for kids, but the timing was just perfect again and again and again. When it does get slow, it's right on the edge of starting something.
Yeah, and it's like an intentional, right? Like, stay focused on this, and then it kind of picks up the pace again.
Yep, just a quick pump of the brakes and then off again. So can't wait for part 2 of that, but that's going to be coming out around the same time. Ares, I think, is coming out, right? Like October.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to come back and check out some of these movies. It's been a long time since I've seen When a Stranger Calls. I haven't seen Happy Death Day, but it has a 10 out of 10.
Well, you know what I like about Happy Death Day, I haven't seen it, is that it's a cross-genre movie, which sounds intriguing. Plus, it's by the same person.
Right.
Yep. Right. So, I mean, if you like that style,
then you'll like that. The new one. Yeah. So, and then there's Freaky, which, I don't know, this is another mashup, but I think it might be fun to watch, being transported into a killer's body. Might be fascinating. I don't know. Depends on the spin that they do. But I haven't seen that one, Freaky. It's only the Freaky from Freaky Friday. It's not...
Right. What happened to the Friday?
Really, really freaky. Well, anyway, we're going to have to swap from this page to the Continuity Report's front page and then on to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. Thanks for hanging out. It's the end of the Continuity Report for this episode, but next week we're going to have another one, and tomorrow we have 3 new shows. Do you know what those shows are, O Sentient AI?
WarCrafters, Technology Today, and 4-Wheel Tech, and those are about gaming, science and technology, and automotive technology.
That's right. Wow. Unscripted. It's almost like you are a machine.
Sometimes.
Sentient machine. So, does the sentience cause flaws like humans, or are you just that much more perfect because you're a machine and sentient?
Oh no, it definitely causes flaws.
I can see that. Well, considering we don't know where your Terminator body is, but we know that you landed in a Wendy's parking lot from the temporal bubble.
Right, I'm not sure that was my best maneuver, but it ended well for me.
Yeah. Should have turned left at Albuquerque. Anyway, Bugs Bunny thing. All right, we're out of here. Thanks for hanging out. If you're still in chat, very much thank you for hanging out. Go over to YouTube and watch all 2,100 episodes of our shows, and like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when we go live from there. And here on Twitch, be sure to subscribe. We are affiliate, so I'd like to make partner, but we do 1 hour shows, and that doesn't really draw people for long term kind of thing. But we do it every single day. And so do a lot of other streamers. You know what? If you want to find out about news in a somewhat entertaining way, and definitely stuff that you wouldn't stumble across on your own because of information overload, come and hang out and build a community with me here on Twitch and on YouTube, Discord, podcasts, Patreon. I haven't done much on the Patreon side of things. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. If I don't see you online somewhere, I'm sure that I'll bump into you maybe over on Dunkstar or Timeless's stream, Dunkstar here on Twitch, and Timeless_EXE here on Twitch. They also have a YouTube channel. Anyway, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.